So imagine, a future Jerusalem, just bathed in light. The land is flourishing and everything's, perfect and beautiful.
Right.
But there's this really kind of strange image that we find in the Book of Mormon.
Interesting.
It says, and I'm quoting here, "And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach."
Wow.
That's from 2 Nephi, chapter 14, verse 1. What do you think about these women clinging to this man, like desperate to be associated with him?
Well, it is fascinating. It's like on the surface, it seems like they're just asking for protection,
right?
In a time of like uncertainty and upheaval.
Sure.
But when you really look at the wording, it seems like it's something deeper.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, they're not even asking for food or clothing. They're saying they'll provide for themselves.
Yeah, you're right.
They just want to be called by his name. To me, that speaks to a yearning for identity. Like they want to belong.
Right. Yeah.
And they want a connection to something greater than themselves.
That's a really good point. It's not just about, material needs. Like you said, it's about their spiritual identity.
Exactly.
And when we think about the whole context of 2 Nephi, it's full of prophecy.
Yes.
And warnings about the scattering and gathering of Israel. So maybe these women represent those who are trying to reconnect with God's covenant people.
I think so, yeah.
And they want to be recognized as part of his chosen lineage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so then the text shifts in verses 2 and 3 to a description of Zion flourishing.
All right.
It says, "In that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem." So that's 2 Nephi chapter 14, verses 2 and 3. And what's interesting is how it shifts from like individual need to like a collective blessing.
Yeah.
The land prospers, and those who stay faithful are called holy.
Exactly.
So it's tied to location, right? Those left in Zion and Jerusalem.
Yes.
But it's also tied to this spiritual state of being.
Yeah.
Those written among the living in Jerusalem. I mean, it suggests that true holiness comes from aligning yourself with God's purposes.
Definitely.
And dwelling in his presence, both physically and spiritually.
Absolutely. And that alignment often requires purification.
Okay.
Verse 4 describes the Lord washing away the filth of the daughters of Zion and purging the blood of Jerusalem.
Wow, that's powerful imagery.
It is, right? This cleansing imagery reminds us that preparing for God's blessings often involves a process of repentance and refinement.
Yeah, it's like a refiner's fire, right?
Exactly.
Purifying us from our imperfections. Okay, then in verses 4 and 5, we see this, image of God's protective presence over Zion. "And the Lord will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion and upon her assemblies a cloud and smoke by day and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense."
It's such a powerful image.
Yeah, it really is. It reminds me of the pillar of cloud and fire that guided the Israelites in the wilderness.
Me too.
But here, it symbolizes God's commitment to defending those who are faithful.
Yes.
And it goes beyond just physical protection, right?
Right.
The last verse talks about the tabernacle.
Okay.
A shadow from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a covert from storm and from rain.
Wow.
That's 2 Nephi chapter 14.
Got it, verse 6.
For the Israelites, the tabernacle was God's dwelling place among them.
Yes.
But here it has a broader meaning.
Okay.
It symbolizes the spiritual sanctuary we find in our relationship with God. It's like a reminder that even in the storms of life, God offers us refuge, strength, and protection. It's a place where we can find peace and solace.
It's a beautiful thought.
And, maybe that's what those women back in verse 1 are really seeking.
Yeah, I think so.
This safety and security that comes from being connected to God.
And being called by his name.
Exactly. It's a yearning we all share.
It is.
This desire to belong, to find meaning and purpose in something greater than ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow our podcast and subscribe for more.
Yes, please do. Thanks for listening.
Of course. Thanks for having me.